Welcome to episode 91 of the Toadstool Boardroom for the week of May 23rd, 2024. It's Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door release day. I'm Logan Plant, joined this week just by Chris Schreiber. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Finally, Paper Mario. Are you hyped, Chris?
I'm very hyped. I don't know if you saw Nintendo World, the Nintendo store in New York City is giving out a paper sleeve to the customers that are buying it at the Nintendo store tomorrow on release day. Today, the day this episode drops. And there was a good 10 minutes where I hemmed and hawed, trying to decide: am
Yeah.
I about to take off of work, drive 3 hours to New York City, and drive back for a paper sleeve for a GameCube game that I've never actually finished?
hmm
I'm not going to do it. But I
And you
thought about it.
decided not to, huh?
I'm not doing
Yeah,
it.
it's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, it's a cool bonus they're giving out at Nintendo New York of the GameCube art that you can put as the sleeve of the game instead of the Switch art. But I actually like the Switch art more. It takes after the Japanese box art of the GameCube original, which was different than the English version of the GameCube original. It's more of it plays into kind of the stage idea with the curtain, and so it's more of a red look than kind of the beige look of the treasure map one that was the kind of what ours was based around. So yeah, I like this box art a lot. It looks really good. Uh, yeah, man, it's here. Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door is out today. By the time you're listening to this, because Nintendo puts games out on Thursdays, I'm still not used to that. Reviews dropped earlier this week. I got to play it. I reviewed it over at IGN, and I gave it a 9. I adored it. It is awesome. It is the best version of the Thousand Year Door. And Chris, I'm kind of wondering what you want to hear about the Thousand Year Door.
Um. So the one question I do have, I think you did a very good job with your review in terms of covering
Thank
the
you.
improvements that they made. Um. And I like that you both know the game well enough, and that they know the game well enough to pick the pain point areas that existed in the original one, and make those improvements. Like there was that one specifically where they added a little shortcut for like a really tedious platforming section. I find it
Mhm.
interesting that they didn't just make that section less awful, um, but instead we're just like, well, once you do it, you know, you at least have a way out of it. Um, which either way, I mean, I'm happy, that they did anything for it really, instead of just like, yep, straight port, here you go.
Yeah.
Um, I do have a question about like your, and this is more reviews in general, than Paper Mario specifically, but like I feel like the hype train is pretty high for like if you're a Switch fan or a Switch owner that like if you're listening to the show, you're probably pretty excited for this game, especially if you grew
Yeah.
up in the GameCube generation. What is it like being on the other side of it, where you're like, okay, I played this game now probably 3 weeks ago. Is it's about probably when you started it,
hmm
um,
hmm
and like it's almost like two ships passing by. Like you've had your fun and experience with it, had to kind of sit with it in a bubble, and now here's the rest of the internet catching up to you.
Yeah.
Um,
hmm
what is that like?
Yeah, that's a really fun question. And I actually do want to shout out real quick that I'm going to talk about my review and the game more in depth on Nintendo Voice Chat this week. I'm kind of trying to differentiate a little bit what we talk about here versus what we talk about there, because I
I think
know a
that's
lot of
fair.
our listeners listen to both shows. So I'm
Sure.
trying to spice it up a little bit, and we'll see how it goes without diluting this show. Though this show is still going to be awesome. We're just going to, I think, try and talk about some of the similar topics. Like when I played a 30-hour game, I want to talk about different aspects of it here than over there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
um yeah, so I really like that question. I think that it is definitely kind of, I feel two different ways about it. I feel I've learned that, so I've been reviewing games a lot this year, Nintendo games specifically. I've learned that I don't sleep very well at all the night before my review goes up, just because it's like, well, what's everybody else going to say about this thing, and what's everybody going to think of what I said about this thing, and is it going to publish at the right time, and did we break any of the embargo rules that Nintendo sent us? And yeah, it's just kind of a lot, to just kind of wait, because Nintendo embargoes lift at 6 a.m. They lift
Right.
really, really early. And so it's like, all right, early in the morning is when this thing posts. By the time I wake up, it will be live. And so, yeah, I kind of struggle to get a good night of rest on the night before the embargo lifts. But at the same time, I think I do take it very seriously. Like, I mean, you know how much I care about Nintendo games and reviews and IGN and all that stuff. So I take it really seriously, kind of my process for reviewing a game. And then it is kind of a sense of, oh, this awesome date that we've been waiting for is finally here, and I've already played the game, and now everybody else is gonna go get it. But at the same time, I'm excited for everybody because this is an all-time Nintendo classic. This game is awesome, and I'm gonna kind of get to live vicariously through people who are picking this up now, like you, who's never finished the original, or one of my best friends, Kevin, who I podcasted with for several years about games, and we love the Thousand Year Door. We've talked about it forever, and he's picking it up tonight when it goes live, and I'm excited to talk to him about it as he goes through it. Or my sister, who the original Paper Mario is her second favorite game of all time. She also loves Thousand Year Door, so I think there is some fun, like, now that it's coming out, I'm gonna get to talk to all these people about it. When I'm playing it, I don't get to talk to anybody about it. It's just kind of me sitting there with my thoughts on it. So yeah, I'm excited that it's here, but yeah, it's a different vibe. And then of course for me, who is a compulsive Nintendo physical Switch game collector, I'm like, okay, well, I already finished this game. Do I really go spend $60 on the copy to put on my shelf? And for Thousand Year Door, the answer is yes. I'm gonna buy this game. I'm gonna add this one to the collection.
Well, and I feel like this is one, and 2024 has been a weird year in that I feel like a lot of the the Nintendo releases that we've had are likely to probably have a smaller run than a Super
It's
Mario
seeming like
Odyssey,
that.
a Tears of the
Hmm.
Kingdom, something like that. Um, and given everything that was, it seemed like it was happening, and now I just read that it might not be happening with the cancellations if like you order the game from Walmart.com
Yeah.
and Amazon. I saw that some of those are actually shipping now. Um, I don't know if this is going to be a similar situation to almost like a Metroid Prime remake where Nintendo said, okay, we expect to sell this many copies physical. And I feel like they just picked the same number that they made of the original Thousand Year Door, and we're like, well, yeah, we made this many
Yeah.
last time.
Mhm.
Like, and there may not be that many of these available. So, no, I think of any of them, you should absolutely pick this one up. I think you would
Yeah.
be, you would regret it later on if you didn't.
Oh, that's a tease to a question that we have later on that we're
Yeah,
going to
yes, it
answer.
is.
But I wonder if they looked at, so Origami King and Mario RPG Remake both sold just over 3 million, and I wonder if they're kind of projecting the same for this. I think that this is going to blow those out of the water. I really do. I feel like the hype swirling around Thousand Year Door for years, annoying Nintendo fans like me have been saying this is one of the best games they've ever made, and it has never been ported. It has never been on a virtual console. It's never been re-released before. And I think sometimes we forget how small the GameCube install base was. It was tiny. It was less than double the Wii U, and the Wii U is lauded as this failure. And the GameCube just barely cracked like 20 million back in the day. And
Yep.
yeah, not a ton of people have played the Thousand Year Door. Of course, there's other means to play it that some people have gone and played it since. But this is one that I think a lot of people have heard about for a really long time. And with the Switch install base and the drought of Nintendo games right now, I think this is going to sell really well, and hopefully send a message to Nintendo and Intelligent Systems that this is the direction that we want for Mario RPGs in the future. I want it to blow by Origami King and Super Mario RPG because I want this to be the direction, because this game introduces so much stuff. Actually, really, the original Paper Mario introduces it, and then this game refines it, that the series has not really seen since. The turn based combat with the action commands and the badge system is so innovative and unique and cool. The live audience that watches the turn based battles unfold, and they cheer when you do well and boo when you do poorly and throw rocks at you. You have to dodge or block, or Mario actually runs down into the audience and hits an enemy with a hammer that's about to throw a rock at him. It's so cool, and I have always been a sucker for like this stage play aesthetic Nintendo goes for. They just did it in Showtime. It was good there. I think it's best here, where it's like seriously, when you hit an enemy and the curtain drops and opens, and then you're just watching this play unfold. It's just super cool, Chris.
Yeah, I think that's one of my biggest draws to it. Is just the everything seems so well thought out compared to like one of the questions we had gotten in our Discord, and we'll probably get into it a little bit later, was, is there like a problem? Is the problems with like Paper Mario Sticker Star and Color Splash, like, are they as big as we make them out to be, or is it because they're truly bad games? And I feel like they seemed kind of thrown together in some aspects, and like Thousand Year Door is just one of those games that just seems like it was so they went all in. Like they had a concept, and that concept is carried throughout every single aspect of the game. Um, at least that I've seen so far when my last playthrough of it. Um, and when a Nintendo game does that, I feel like those are the ones that really shine. I think Origami King was that type of game as well. Like the whole origami aesthetic, the way that they change up the battle system to kind of match that. It all felt very cohesive. So no, I agree with you. I think it's awesome what they've done with what they did with Thousand Year Door back in the day.
And I agree with you. I think Origami King is a really complete package that has a stronger direction than the series had for a very long time. And I say this as someone who's not a huge Super Paper Mario fan either. I think that that game has a really cool kind of flip mechanic between the 2D and 3D. But from what I remember of it, it's kind of the solution to every puzzle. It's, oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, you just flip it, and then, oh, there's the door, or now I can get behind this obstacle. So it's a really cool concept that, in a very un-Nintendo like fashion, I feel like they didn't take it to the full advantage of it. Or maybe there's just not much you can do with that besides it's the solution to the puzzles. So I did not think Paper Mario had been truly great until Thousand Year Door, or since Thousand Year Door. But then Origami King, I think, was an amazing step in the right direction. I think the script in that game is just absolutely hilarious. It leans way more into the comedy than I think traditional Paper Mario fans want it to. Pretty much every line is a joke, but the jokes are really, really
It's
good. That game
really
is
well written.
hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, I have probably 200 screenshots on my Switch of moments in that game that made me laugh. I think that game is hilarious. And it's a gorgeous game. The level design is cool. Like, there's a Wind Waker segment in Origami King where you sail an open world ocean. It's very much like a 3D Zelda game. I've talked about Origami King before on this game, that I think it's on the show, that I think it's a pretty underrated Nintendo Switch game. But still, I think that, like you were saying, Chris, it's a cohesive package with ideas they had, and it all feels less scatterbrained than Color Splash and Sticker Star. But the idea they went for doesn't hold a candle to Thousand Year Door still. Thousand Year still runs laps around Origami King, and I really like both games. But yeah, the story in Thousand Year Door is really good. The partners are awesome, and they tried a little bit to bring that back in Origami King, but it's nothing like the partners we have here. Like, Koops is hilarious. I love him. He's this pathetic Koopa who's trying to gain courage. He's awesome. I really like Captain Bobbery, who's this salty old sea sailor who's like really heartbroken, and you have to convince him to sail again. It's awesome. There's just so many amazing moments in this game, and I have a really good memory and tend to remember a lot of the major beats of games I've played, but I haven't played Thousand Year Door in, I don't know, 10 to 15 years, and I remembered every second of it. It's just that memorable and iconic to me that I remembered every beat of this adventure. I remembered so many of the lines and the funny things that happen, and but then some of the solutions to puzzles and some of the gameplay I'd forgotten, so it was fun to rediscover that stuff. So yeah, it's timeless. It is classic. And I wondered going into it, I was a little nervous because I can be a little bit critical at times. And I'm wondering, okay, am I going to find big flaws with this thing that I'm going to come back and say, oh, this game you remember being amazing is actually just good? But no, it really stands the test of time.
I will say you did get me a little nervous coming off of at least how the Metroid Prime conversation went, because like early days of this show, Odell and I were like ringing the bell of Metroid Prime is like the best game ever made, and you come back and you play it in 2024 or 2023 when it came out, and it's obviously still very good. But that last segment with the backtracking is, it cripples it a little bit, and
Totally.
it sounds like Thousand Year Door has a bit of that, but they at least took strides to try and improve that in this release, which is good. Because I think Metroid Prime they didn't really do a very good job of that. I don't even know how you would change that. But I mean, it's good that at least they've modernized it to the point where it still has its original identity, but is still but it's also like better for the player overall.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was something I was kind of torn on. Was, some of the solutions do end up feeling a little bit like band-aids. Like the example you talked about earlier in Keel Hall Key, there's this really stupid section you have to go back and forth between like 4 times, and you have to ride your Yoshi kid and flutter to a 1 by 1 block, and then flutter again from that block to another platform. And sometimes enemies pop up and can initiate you into a battle on that, and then when you come back from the battle, you fall off, and it's just this really poorly designed section of the original. And now, after you do it the first time, you hit a button and a spring appears, and that's a huge change. It shortens that section by several minutes and just makes it a lot less tedious. But still, sometimes I just wish Nintendo actually remade their games rather
Like,
than
fix the problem. Don't just
yes,
don't just patch the problem with
yeah.
another solution.
And we've talked about it. They don't really do that. When they remake a game, it is the same game. They don't do much to it, and so I'm glad they took the steps they did. But I kind of wish maybe they had just overhauled the level design. Give me the same story, but with slightly new challenges to interact with along the way. But then I guess maybe you make some of the diehard long-term fans that have this game memorized a little upset that the finally 1,000 Year Door's back and it's different this time. So I think there's no way to win with everybody, but some of these sections, I just was thinking it would be really nice if I had 1,000 Year Door story and battling and music, but with Origami King's level design, because that's the one place that it outpaces it. Origami King's levels are awesome, and that makes me excited for the next Paper Mario. If they take the heart and the characters and everything people love and make new sets of those from the original Paper Mario and 1,000 Year Door and combine that with the modern level design sensibilities they had in Origami King, I think they could the next Paper Mario game could be the best one if they kind of combine all these elements that they have on the two Switch versions.
I do wonder if that's part of the reason they revisited this, is because they're like, okay, well, like, clearly people are still talking about this title, the same
Yeah.
way they talked about Mario RPG. Maybe we need to revisit this and see what it did well. I do have one 2-part question for you while we're still on this.
Yeah.
What are the chances that you think that they are going to work on an actual game based on the story that Luigi tells in this game? And do you want that?
hmm I think the chances are zero. I don't think it's going to happen. And because it's a joke. It's a big joke. So if you don't know Luigi, you find him throughout the game in Rogueport, and you talk to him, and he has a funny, unique partner character behind him that's different each time, just like how every time Mario goes to a new place, he gains a new partner too. So it's kind of these two quests that are running in parallel to each other. But Luigi tells these grand sweeping stories about what a hero he is and all these amazing things that he's doing in the Waffle Kingdom. And then you talk to his partner, and his partner says, no, that's not what happened at all. This dude's a bumbling idiot who's just loafing around and messing everything up and lucking into what actually happened. So as a game, I just don't think it would really work. I also think it's it would almost be like prequel syndrome, where sometimes things are over explained in a prequel, and
Yeah.
it's like I didn't need to see that. I was fine with what we had. So I would rather them make a new Paper Mario adventure than make a Mario and Luigi thing. And there's nothing than make a Luigi thing. There's nothing new with the Luigi stuff in this game like a lot of people were hoping. This was the chance to do it. This was the
Yeah.
chance to have a Luigi epilogue or something like that, but it's not here. So I think if they didn't do it here, they're not
They're
going to
never
do it
going to do it.
moving
Yeah.
forward. Yeah. Also, you mentioned people keep talking about 1,000 Year Door this long later. We have a poll in my review. I just asked, "What's your favorite Paper Mario game?" And it's crazy. The results of this poll. There's 5,000 votes, and number one with 65% of the vote is the 1,000 Year Door. This is
Wow.
the one. This is pretty definitively the one. In second place, which I would agree, is Paper Mario on N64 with 18% of the vote. And then Super Paper Mario, 9%. Origami King, 5.7%. I would flip those two. And then second to last, Sticker Star with 1.4%. And then Color Splash is in last with 1.3%. Color Splash is so much better than Sticker Star, but no one had a Wii U. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But is there a series where there's a more definitive favorite than Paper Mario? It's tough to find.
I mean, I can't think of one off the top of my head,
Yeah.
because I feel like people have the hill they'll die on, right? Like, I always am
Mhm.
like I'm a Banjo Kazooie purist, but like people go to bat for Tooie, and there's just different games. Um, Killzone 2 comes to mind on the PS3. Like, that's kind of
Well, I'll limit
universally
it to
loved.
Nintendo series. Then.
Yeah,
Is there a
Nintendo series. I mean,
series? If you look at the big ones, Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Pokemon,
People
Kirby,
have their
there's no
favorites.
definitive choice.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I can't think of any. Yeah, that's
But
pretty
Paper Mario,
staggering.
we're across 6 games, and one game has almost 2/3 of the votes when there's 5 other choices.
That's
It's
crazy.
crazy. So
Well, one
yeah,
other thing I wanted to bring up, I looked it up while we were on here. Um, the number to beat is 1.3 million units of Paper Mario sales. So that's how many copies were sold on the Nintendo GameCube when it first launched in 2004. I think it'll crack that pretty easily.
I think it'll pass that this weekend. I
Yeah.
think that I think it'll beat that within its first 3 days. So yeah, Thousand Year Door is super special. It's awesome. I know a lot of you in our Discord have played this one and are huge fans of it. So I'm excited for everyone who's jumping back in. And if you haven't played it, you got to play this game. This is a must play Nintendo game. I think I was actually looking at Nintendo Life has this ranking of the top 100 Nintendo games of all time, and it's based on their user ratings. So people who log in and score games 1 to 10, and then they have this article that automatically sorts when those ratings change. Thousand Year Door's number 7 or something like that. It's
Wow.
way up there. This is a classic. It's just I feel like people who played it back in the day that are a little bit younger than people who played Super Metroid the day it came out. This is like the one we're banging the drum for. Like this is a classic all-time Nintendo game that just was so deserving to get the remake treatment. And yeah, you got to go play this one. Chris
I'm
is going to
excited.
check it out and hopefully
Yeah.
finish it for the first time. Yeah. But on the topic of Mario RPGs, I wanted to share my personal ranking of every Mario RPG. But first, I wanted to toss it to Chris because I wanted to see what his thoughts were on his favorite Mario RPGs. And then we were talking about it a little bit before the show. You haven't finished that many Mario RPGs.
I really haven't. Like, I historically am not an RPG person, but I always like to give ones that, uh, the story or the characters peak. Like in Mario's case, the characters pique my interest. I like to give it the old college try. Like I know I've played like obviously Super Mario RPG. I've started a lot of these. So like Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo and the Switch. Didn't finish it. Um, the original Mario and Luigi, Dream Team, Bowser's Inside Story, like all ones that I've started and just other things have come up and never finished them. I did not like Sticker Star. I did not like Color Splash. I enjoyed Origami King. That was one that my wife commandeered while I was in the middle of playing it. I never got to finish it. Never went back to it. And this since meeting her, like that theme happens a lot with RPGs where I will start them and she walks in and is like, "Ooh, new shiny thing," and then all of a sudden my save is just gone because she'll play when my son is asleep or like when I'm working or whatever, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm just not gonna play this now, or I'm gonna watch you play this, which like is fine because we're hanging out and like she's enjoying it, and I at least get to still experience the story and all. But there aren't that many games that like that's her genre. So usually when they come up,
Yep.
I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna let you do this. I mean, uh, strictly Mario RPGs. The original Paper Mario, I rented that from Blockbuster on the N64 and played the entire thing. Like I adored that game. I remember like
Great. Mm-hmm.
I remember cutting out the Paper Mario ad, and then like drawing him like over and over again for like
From Nintendo
days after
Power,
that.
like
Yeah,
the
from
one where
Nintendo
it's the
Power.
blank page with
It's like
him with the
demo.
dotted lines.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I cut that out and
that's
like
so
carried it
good.
around. Yeah, no, I thought that
Mhm.
game was incredible.
Yeah.
And then Super Paper Mario I enjoyed a lot at the time because it was more of a platformer than it was an RPG. Like it was like a platformer with RPG elements more than probably any other Paper Mario game that I've played.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah. So and then Thousand Year Door, same thing happened. I was playing it on. I had a HD texture pack running on Batocera on a PC I'd built. And then my wife went, "Ooh, new shiny thing," and then ended up playing like 85% of it. She didn't finish it, and then I sold that computer and forgot to back up the save.
Oh, dang. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I bought a
Nice.
copy
Well,
of this, and a week later they announced it on Switch. So I was like, well, I guess I'm not playing it now. I'm just gonna wait for the Switch release.
yeah. Yeah, well, okay, you're in for a treat because you love the original Paper Mario. This game is that, but better. It just is.
Yeah.
Thousand Year Door, they almost are kind of the same framework. They really are. It's this. You start as Paper Mario in a main town. You go out to 7 different locations. You get a new partner and a MacGuffin at each one. That new partner has an ability in combat and outside of combat, and then you take them all to go to the. It's very similar. They are. It's almost like a redo of Paper Mario's The Thousand Year Door, just in a new world with new levels. So yeah, if you like that game, you'll love Thousand Year Door. I have a ranking of all 12. Also, you love Mario and Rabbids. That kind of counts. That toes the line.
I don't know if that's an RPG. I feel like that's like a strategy game. But like I do love
Yeah.
both of those games very much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, you played Sparks of Hope. I forgot you played that one.
Yeah. That game's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's one that just
That's-
never gets talked about.
It's one of the best looking games on Switch, and nobody talks about it. I feel like it came out at a
I need
really
to play that
bad
game.
time. Like they could have let that they could have held that game until like around now, and it probably would have popped
Mhm.
off like pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit
Kind of like a
earlier
first
this
year,
year.
last year type thing.
Yeah.
hmm I never played that one because I never finished the original. It wasn't super my thing. I wasn't. I liked the combat, but I didn't like that in the. This is a really weird nitpick to be my reason that I put down the game. I didn't like that the character that I controlled was the Roomba bunny thing and not actually Mario. That just really bugged me.
Oh,
I
in
don't know
the
why it bothered me
overworld?
so much. Yeah.
I feel like that's still a thing in Sparks of Hope.
hmm
I'm pretty sure it is. But I mean, in combat, the combat's so much better. Like it's so much more fluid. Like it's not
Yeah.
not as grid based as the original.
Okay. Cool.
But I mean, I don't know, man. If that game's on sale, you should pick it up. It's
It's
the
always on sale.
the cutscenes in it are incredible alone. Like you can tell it was supposed to be a next gen Switch game, and they're like, now we're gonna downport it. And I mean, it runs great, but it looks great too.
Yeah.
So
hmm Cool. And I've never minded the Rabbids. I grew up with a lot of the Rayman Raving Rabbids games and liked them. So
Yeah.
I'm not a person who, when this game leaked, the original leaked before it was announced in 2017, I thought, cool, that's a weird crossover we never saw coming. I was down for it. I was not enraged like so many people were because I don't mind the Rabbids.
no, they're fine.
I had every Rabbids game on Wii. Some of those games are awesome. Some of them are really, really good.
The
Good party games.
I like the Wii Fit one. Like there was one that was
The-
compatible with the balance board.
TV Party. Yeah,
Yeah,
that game's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, that game's really cool. Okay, I have all 12 Mario RPGs ranked. I didn't count the sports ones, which kind of are Mario RPGs, but I just kept this to Super Mario RPG and the 2 series that spawned off of it, which are Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario. So number 12, Paper Mario Sticker Star. And I want to bring in a question we got from a listener in our Discord. This came from Tim, who said, do you think Sticker Star is really that bad, or does it suffer similar circumstance to Federation Force and Triforce Heroes, where they were really fine at worst, but conceptually far from what core fans were hoping for? I think that people overblow how bad Sticker Star is. I just think it's extremely bland. I think it's bad, but it's not the worst thing to ever happen that a lot of people make it out to be.
I don't think it's the worst thing to ever happen, but the way I was thinking about it was, okay, take Mario out of this game. Would I play this game? And the answer is no. Like there's
No.
nothing about that game that is appealing to me
Mhm.
at that point.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a reason I dipped out of it because I thought the gameplay was not great. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
that.
it is vanilla New Super Mario Brothers Paper Mario Edition. They just
Yeah.
stripped all personality from Paper Mario, which is what it's always had going for it at its best. Even when it jumped genres to the platformer and Super, it was still full of personality, so it still felt like a Paper Mario game, and Sticker Star doesn't.
And what's interesting is that's how people described Origami King when it came out, because the statements they put out saying like, no, you're not going to have all these original characters that like you would have seen in like 1,000 Year Door.
Yeah.
And that's totally not like it's the case in that like to look at them, they are that's a Bob-omb, that's a yellow toad, but
Mhm.
like those characters have a lot of depth to them, like because the way they're written,
Yes.
which is good at least in that game. But like Sticker Star just feels like it doesn't have a soul.
Totally. It is. Yeah, it is one of my least favorite 3DS games. One of my least favorite Nintendo games that I've ever played that much of that I did. I really dislike it. I think that also I have a huge issue with how the boss fights work. You get to these bosses, and I don't know if you remember this, Chris. You need one of the, I don't remember the term they call them in the game, but you need a real world object basically to defeat the bosses. I think in the first world you need a big giant fan that is somewhere out in the overworld to beat the boss. And you can easily get to that boss and get locked in a turn-based battle with them that you cannot win. And so you just have to fail this fight because you don't have the item that they expect you to have at that point. And it just feels like terrible design. Imagine if a Zelda dungeon let you get to the boss without the item you needed to beat the boss. It's frustrating, and it's really bad, and it's bland, and it's split up into levels that just it's forest, desert. That is it.
Yeah.
There's nothing memorable about Sticker Star. So yeah, I don't think it is the. I don't know if I were to like score it 5-4. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I agree with
Yeah.
you.
So that's my least favorite Mario RPG. You can't even really call it an RPG. It doesn't even really count. And then 11, I would say Mario and Luigi Paper Jam. And this one I haven't played, but I played like a little bit of it. And what I played was awful. It is, again, it's just bland new Super Mario Brothers type levels. There's hunting down these toads is super tedious and monotonous. This is a bad one. It sounds like you haven't ever played Paper Jam.
No, I think because this came out after Sticker Star, and I remember the review dropping, and
Yeah.
and you know that kind of being the consensus, and I was like, you know what, I'm not doing this again, and then I just stayed away from it.
Yeah, it's sad. It is sad because on paper, that wasn't intended. On paper, Mario and Luigi plus Paper Mario sounds like the coolest combo ever. That's such a cool crossover that you would never think they would actually do. But they did it at a time of desperation when Alpha Dream was sadly about to go bankrupt. This was one of the last things they put out before they put out a couple of the late 3DS Mario and Luigi remakes. And yeah, this game just, it was in that unfortunate era where Nintendo and personality in Mario games really clashed, and they didn't really let it happen. So that was a bummer. Number 10, I'm going to go Mario and Luigi Dream Team. This is the chattiest Nintendo game I think I've ever played. They never stop talking to you. Once it gets going, it's great, but it takes way too long to get going, and that's always kind of soured my opinion on it. And I love how the Mario and Luigi games look on GBA and DS. I never fell in love with the 3D sprites on 3DS. I think that it lost something.
No, and this is also, it is the ugliest 3DS that they ever put out. The 3DS that's for
Which
Mario
one?
Luigi Dream Team. It's gray and gold, and it has like the two of them on it.
Yes.
It is just hideous to look at.
I remember that one now.
Yeah.
Do you remember the one that the UK got? That
The
was
all
all
Luigi
the
one?
green outline Luigi's? Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's cool. That's
I'm
a
still
cool
bummed
3DS.
that never. Like I think someone's on Etsy sells the shells that you can buy for it.
Nice.
I think I could be wrong, but yeah, that one's super cool.
Yeah, that one's really awesome. Okay, number 9, Color Splash. I like Color Splash more than most people. Oh wait, sorry, no, I'm wrong here. Number 9, Super Paper Mario. I just never really vibed with it like we talked about earlier. I talked about it enough. Number 8 is Color Splash. I think I like this game more than most people do. I think it's a huge step up from Sticker Star. Just it's super colorful and pretty, and the humor I think really hits. It's a funny game, but the combat is still bad.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I just pulled my 3DS case out, and I was like, I
Mhm.
bought a lot of these when the eShop was closing, and I own all of them on 3DS. I remember being like, I don't own any of those. I should get them before it's too late. And yeah,
Mhm.
I haven't played any of them yet.
Nice. I don't own Paper Jam. I think it's the one Mario and Luigi game I don't own.
Yeah,
And of course, I'm on the fence wondering if I should fix that, but I'm never going to play it. I don't want it. Oh, there it is.
there it is.
There it is. Number 7, Superstar Saga. Good, classic adventure. Just a little simple compared to what was to come, but that game's great. Number 6, Super Mario RPG. I liked that game a lot, but I felt it just didn't really stick with me. But it was still really, really good. Yeah, I think 7 and above is the great games in these series. So Superstar Saga, Super Mario RPG. 5, Origami King. Talked about that one a lot already. I love that game. 4, Partners in Time. This was the first one I ever personally played. It was the game I got with my DS when I got a DS for Christmas when I was a kid. And Partners in Time rules. That game is so cool. I love how it plays with Mario, Luigi, Baby Luigi, 4 party members at once is super fun. And sometimes it makes them split up and solve puzzles in a cool way. The aliens, the Shroobs are this alien race that are the villains of that game, and it's really cool. That game's awesome, and I hate that it's the only Mario and Luigi game that's not on 3DS.
I was just about to say, that never got ported.
Yeah, it's the one.
I forgot about this game.
Because they started with Superstar Saga, which was the first one for
Yep.
the remake. And then I think when they remade Bowser's Inside Story, that is the 1,000-year door of the Mario and Luigi series. It's the one people love. And
I'm
so
afraid to look this
they just
up.
kind of skipped to it.
$65 on eBay for complete and copy
on DS
on
for
DS.
Partners in Time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a shame.
Yeah, it's awesome though. That game's great. Number 3, original Paper Mario, classic adventure, great soundtrack, cool partners. Number 2, Bowser's Inside Story. Chris, this is one I would say you should give another try because Bowser's Inside Story rips.
I'm going to do the thing I always do, like I did with Kid Icarus. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to put it in my 3DS, and then 6 months from now, when I turn on my 3DS again, I'm going to go, you know what? Logan told me to play this. I should play it.
Yeah. Oh, I've never played the 3DS version though. I don't know how that one is compared. I'm sure it's still great.
I know they added content. There's like a Bowser's Minions DLC thing.
Yeah, I don't. I've heard that those two things are not very good because Superstar Saga also got one. I've heard they're not great. And then one, of course, Thousand Year Door. It's the best.
Yeah.
It is the best Mario RPG. It's so awesome, and I'm happy it's out today. What's your favorite Mario RPG? Email us toadstoolboardroom@gmail.com. All right, let's move on to topic 2 here, which is Nintendo acquires Shiver Entertainment. This is a port studio they bought from Embracer Group. Really rare that we see a Nintendo acquisition. It does not happen very often at all, so this was kind of surprising. This is a port studio based in Miami, and they worked on the Switch ports of Hogwarts Legacy, Mortal Kombat 11, and Mortal Kombat 1. And Nintendo put out a statement that said, by welcoming Shiver's experienced and accomplished development team, Nintendo aims to secure high-level resources for porting and developing software titles. Going forward, even after it becomes a part of the Nintendo Group, Shiver's focus will remain the same, continuing commissions that port and develop software for multiple platforms, including Nintendo Switch. So, Nintendo owns a studio. It's going to continue working on games for other platforms? Or does multiple platforms mean the next Switch and Nintendo Switch? What do you think, Chris?
I think it's both for the first 2 years of the next console's life cycle. I think what they're hoping to see is, I think there's like two main things. One of them is, I don't think they have it's not that they don't have the ability. I don't think they have the dedicated resources to be able to support third parties that may require support to port their games over to their consoles. And I think, similar to the conversation we had last week with like the sports titles, I think they want to see more of that. So when a company like, because obviously like the Mortal Kombat and the Hogwarts Legacy situation, like it's clear that at least it seems clear that Nintendo has a pretty good relationship with WB Games because they're the two companies that are publishing those. Or that's the company that's publishing those two games. I think they want to garner more of those relationships. It would probably behoove them to like have a similar situation with an EA or a 2K. 2K get like they put MLB and what's the other one? NBA on the Switch, but I think they want to see more of that type of content. So having dedicated people that you can like point people that Nintendo could say, hey, go reach out to so and so, and like they can connect the dots there. I think that's great. But it makes sense for those types of titles for the publisher to be able to hit as many consoles as they can, and you need to have that overlap. As people are getting off the old and adopting the new, so that they it's going to take 2 years to garner those relationships anyway, and the development life cycle is going to that all takes time that they have to account for. If anything, this is probably well, we don't know when the next console drops. I would say 6 months later than I would have expected it to have happened. I wonder if they wanted to see how Hogwarts Legacy was going to go sales-wise, and I imagine it sold pretty well. So while those ports are not, at least the Mortal Kombat one is kind of laughably bad. Mortal Kombat 1.
I heard 11 was okay.
11's okay. 11's basically a low-res version of Mortal Kombat 11, but it's still very much the same game. Hogwarts Legacy is playable, and if you aren't as up on what's an SSD, then you're probably fine. A 12-year-old playing it's not going to know the difference. So I think they probably saw that and were really impressed with the dedication of that studio. I do find it interesting, and I don't know Panic Button's situation as far as who owns them. I feel like Panic Button probably would have been a better choice to do this. because they're responsible
They
for
made
that
Doom. They made
Wolfenstein
what
and
else did they do? Yeah.
yeah, the New Order. So like those ports are incredible. Like it's like wizardry what they've done with those games. I don't know who owns them though, or if they're independent or part of id. I can't remember, like a subsidiary. Um, so that's yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Looks like they're independent. Panic button.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
I wonder.
I wonder if they
You go.
approached them and
Yeah.
they just didn't want to work something out.
Well, I wonder if Embracer's having a fire sale because this
That's
studio
right.
came from
Embracer's
Embracer.
involved. It's that.
Yeah.
It's definitely that.
So Nintendo, it was an undisclosed sum of money that they bought Shiver for, but it was probably a major discount than what it normally would have gone for because Embracer is flailing and dumping studios left and right because they scooped way too many up way too quick and it was a huge failure. So I think that's probably why. And
That makes
Nintendo
way
saw,
more
hey,
sense.
we have a chance to buy this studio that can continue to port games to Switch, probably Switch 2, because let's remember that the Switch 2 is coming out next year. That doesn't mean the Switch is going to stop getting games. It's going to get games for several more years, especially with the install base they have. So to have a studio like this that can keep churning out ports or whatever for Nintendo Switch and maybe Switch 2 while Nintendo completely shifts its focus to Switch 2, it'll be good. Yeah, this seems like a smart acquisition for them. Yeah. So I can't remember the last time Nintendo bought somebody though. It doesn't happen ever. They never do this.
I want to say Retro, but like that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't think it was them.
They just work with studios. They never buy them. They have Next Level, but do they even own Next Level? I think they do.
I think they do at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that they.
Yeah,
but I'm not even entirely sure.
It's a Canadian developer based in Vancouver.
Oh, in 2021. So that's probably the last one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but still, that is a long time ago. And getting Next Level is one that makes a lot of sense. They've only made Nintendo games since 2013. So that almost is like dating someone for a decade and then you finally get married. That's what that one feels like.
Yeah, who would do that?
I'm getting there.
I'm
getting there too. Yeah. So that's weird. They never do it.
Yeah.
All right. Topic 3, Chris, you wanted to talk about this. Zelda Majora's Mask is now a native PC game, and every Nintendo 64 title could follow its lead. And I obviously don't follow this stuff nearly as closely as you do, but even I know that Majora's Mask has had emulation problems with its sound for years and years and years. Does this fix that?
It does. So this does a lot. This is a huge deal. So I always say without getting too into it, but I'm going to, so deal with it. So typically what you've seen, if anybody's familiar with the PC ports of, there's like Render 96 for Super Mario 64, and there's Ship of Harkinian for Ocarina of Time. What those projects are decompilation projects, and that's like somebody taking that base game and breaking it down bit by bit and rebuilding it in C# code, and then publishing it out on the internet. And what you can do with those is it's more for the benefit of like a speedrunner, because you can like modify every single aspect of the game. Like maybe I want to do a run where I only have Deku nuts or something. Like how far can I get? And you can like put those modifiers on and get that granular. What this is doing is it's called a recompilation project, recompilation process. So with some light, this developer, I can't remember the guy's name, went out and made this application where if you know a little bit of N64 reverse engineering, you get an ELF file and then have to do some finessing, and you can get a executable of any N64 game that's out there, and then add a few tweaks to it. So what do those tweaks look like? You can get it where it's widescreen, ultra widescreen. It can run at any resolution. You could add ray tracing to it after the fact. And so the benefit is like those decompilation projects will take a group of developers in their own free time, because like they're not funded by anybody. It'll take them like 5+ years to do that for a single game. And this takes about 3 or 4 hours to get it where it's running natively on PC. So the other cool thing about it though is it maintains the all of the weird behaviors that would happen on N64. So like what Logan mentioned with Majora's Mask, when the moon is falling and the giants are, holding their hands up, there's this like slowdown that happens with the audio. That's still retained. So like the game runs at 60 FPS or 120 FPS or whatever you set it to on PC. But all of those weird moments with like audio and if there's any graphical glitches or something like that, like all of that is still maintained, but you're seeing it at a higher frame rate, which is pretty cool. And if you're a purist, you can run it and like you have a CRT that's maybe like a higher resolution. You could play this on a CRT at that resolution, so it's like the best looking pure version of the game that you could ever possibly get, which is really, really cool. What I'm interested, part of the reason I'm so interested in this one is I wonder what Nintendo will do about it in that like they would kill to be able to do this, to be able to like take any of their titles that are on Switch back and pack, because they're running through straight emulation, like in-house emulator that they built. And they could say like, all right, we're going to release Mario 64 the way that everyone wanted it to be, where it has widescreen support and it runs at 60 frames a second. Because when everyone got so bent out of shape when Mario 3D All-Stars came out, it's because it's emulating an existing ROM. Like they're not manipulating the software in any way. This is giving you the ability to do that, where you can set all those like, tweaks that you want to set to get a better experience out of it.
That's really cool. They should go buy these guys.
I know they
figure
should.
this all out.
Yeah, they should. Honestly, like if I'm Nintendo, I'm looking at this and it's like, we'll give you X number of dollars and give us the rights to this tool set, and we're even Steven. Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm waiting. I'm actively like refreshing that GitHub page every day, and waiting for the Banjo-Kazooie one to drop.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, because I know there's another one, if you're a Tui fan, in the intro of that game where there's a slowdown with the audio, or when they developed the game, Rare accounted for the slowdown of the audio that occurs in like the graphics engine, so the music time's just right, and like you'll be able to play this in 4K or whatever, and it'll still have that, because that like the Xbox release doesn't have that. Super specific, like very weird nerdy stuff. But if you want to see, like, you should look up footage of it, because it's like the best Majora's Mask has ever looked or ran. Yeah, it's a super exciting time.
Yeah, I saw this. It looked awesome. It looked really, really cool. Yeah, like whenever, I don't know, see what Majora's Mask looks like in Unreal Engine, it always looks like crap to me. It never looks good. But this is just Majora's Mask, because it actually is Majora's Mask, but it's running in 4K and at 60 frames a second, and it looks awesome. And it looks so insanely cool.
And the other thing they did add to this version is, and it was part of the reason I stopped playing it, there's an autosave feature that they put in where you're not like beholden to going to the owl statues every single time you want to save the game. So like every time I think you enter a door or something like that, like the game will autosave, or you can save wherever you want, which is super cool. So
because it still doesn't break kind of the time pressure, because when you come back to that save, you're in the exact same spot that you were.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. That's cool. I'll never mess with it, but happy for you and those who will. Yeah.
I mean, I'll say this. If you're curious about this and you're like, man, I don't have a gaming PC, you can totally run this. Like, the game's old enough and it's running on native PC hardware. Like, you could run this on a potato and it'll be fine.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I should break out my old potato and run F-Zero X.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sounds fun. I wanted to do a quick show and tell of some Nintendo stuff I got this week.
Oh,
I ordered these from Play Asia 6, 7, 8, 9 months ago, and it was delayed and back ordered, and it took forever to get here. But finally, I have this Pikmin terrarium set that showed up, and it's so nice. If you're listening to the show, this one is, I don't remember what these enemies are called, but it's the ones that breathe fire out of their snouts, and there's 2 red Pikmin attacking it and a yellow Pikmin who's being burned in the flames running away. It's like in a little bottle, like a bottle ship. So it's super cute.
I went in close to getting those.
Yeah, they're great. They're really nice quality. I wasn't sure what to expect. But then this is the other one. I went in half and half with my sister, so she's getting 3 of them, and I kept the other 3.
Are they
And this
Kirby?
one is
Oh.
a Bulborb who is eating a Pikmin. There's a dead Pikmin floating away, which is really cute. Yeah, but it's awesome. I love these things. Nice new little things for my desk. And then I don't think they're in here, but I got 2 of the Korok backpack plushies from Tears of the Kingdom that need to reach their friend,
Oh,
and
nice.
they're adorable. Yeah, they're
I don't
super
think I
cute.
showed. I don't think I showed this on the show yet. Since we're doing show and
He's
tell.
getting something. He's left his desk. He's coming back. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So
Very
these are
nice.
the Mother 3 plushies from Hobonichi. I think you can still get them. I don't think they sold. I don't know if they sold out actually. But the Earthbound ones were pretty hard to get for a while. So I finally have
Yes, they
those,
were.
which is cool.
Nice. Cool. That's awesome. You can see my Earthbound ones behind me on that little display back there.
Right there.
Still in their box.
Wherever they are.
From when Chris called me and I was just doing nothing, and then Chris was like, "Buy them right now," and then I did. It was one of the biggest impulse purchases I've done recently.
Damn it!
Yeah.
They're gonna sell out.
And then
What are you doing?
yeah. This other one that I have is I have this pen sticker on my water bottle now from Tears of
Nice.
the Kingdom, and it says "Soar Long," and I love pen. So yeah, those are my new Nintendo gets from the week. Let's hit EGAD's emails and then get out of here. This one comes from Oscar, who emailed toadstoolboardroom@gmail.com, just like you can, and said, "Hello, Boardroom. Recently, I had the opportunity to watch the new Planet of the Apes movie because 1, I'm a big fan, and 2, because it was directed by none other than soon-to-be director of the upcoming Legend of Zelda movie, Wes Ball. I wonder whether it could give a hint as to how the Zelda movie directed by him could churn out. I was left hopeful for what could be to come. The movie was visually stunning with a lot of shots filmed on location. CGI was some of the best I've seen from Hollywood recently, and the character building of Noah was handled very well. Noah is someone who's not very dialogue heavy, however, the action was in. Oh, wait. However, he becomes the star the audience becomes attached to early on and roots for religiously. Above all, the action was impeccable. It was shot in a way that was easily consumable and not a blurry mess, often seen with heavy CGI movies. My favorite moments from the movie involve tense horseback riding scenes in which I couldn't help but imagine what the Elden Bridge fight with King Bulbin from Twilight Princess would look like in live action with Wes Ball at the helm. My question to the panel is, which scene from the Zelda universe would you guys dream of being able to see played out on the big screen? Well, Oscar, I'm glad that you are hopeful for live action Zelda after seeing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I am too. I saw it over the weekend and I
Did
thought
you
it was
really?
so good. Yes, I
Nice.
saw it because of the Zelda connection, just like Oscar. And I honestly, of all the unknowns and doubts I had about the Zelda movie, I can cross the director off the list. I thought it was good. And
Have you
there are a
seen
lot of.
any other movies in that franchise?
Yeah, I saw the whole reboot trilogy
Okay,
from the
cool.
2010s. I've seen them all.
Nice.
And I really, really liked this one. And there are a lot of very Zelda y things, almost to the point where this felt like an audition for him to do a Zelda movie in a weird way. But he did a great job. And I also noticed how Noah barely spoke. He barely spoke. He's often in conversations where it's the other character doing much of the talking, and he just kind of reacts to it. And it's a monkey. It's not Link, but I look at this. I'm like, that could be Link. I see it. I see it. He's this boy from this village who has to leave to go on this grand adventure. It works. It worked. And I'm more hopeful than I was. Still have serious doubts about live action Zelda, though. Serious, serious doubts.
I mean, the other thing on that I will bring up is Mad Max comes out this Friday, or I'm sorry,
Oh, yeah.
Furiosa comes out this Friday.
Mhm.
And Anya Taylor-Joy is said to have like 20 or 22 lines in the whole movie. So like she's the protagonist. Like it is possible.
Yeah.
Like you can make a movie where people don't speak,
Mhm.
especially the lead character, as long as there's enough
Yeah.
happening around you.
Mhm. So yeah, it was good. Chris, what's your answer to this question? What scene from the Zelda universe
I
would you
can't pick
dream of seeing
one.
played out on the big screen?
I want to see Darunia dancing. I want to see like that's the
Oh,
first one.
That's all we need. That's such a brilliant first pick. That's so good.
It's like the first one that I thought of. It's that I want to see in Wind Waker where you get to the temple that's all black and white. I think that'd be really cool. Um,
Mhm.
him pulling out the Master Sword in Ocarina of Time, and transforming from younger to older, I think would be cool. The fight with Ganondorf and Ganon at the end of that game, I think would be cool. I'm also like, I have a huge affinity for that game, obviously. Yeah, I mean, those are the ones that come to mind at first. Anything in the Twilight realm, like, just like the shots of like the golden hour, like shots that you like things that you would shoot at the golden hour, like,
Yeah.
um, while you're there, I think would be super super cool. Yeah. What about you?
I have kind of a lame answer. My answer is none. My answer is that I don't want this to be an adaptation. Not saying I don't want to see anything. My answer is I want this to be an original story. I
Sure.
don't want them to adapt because I know I won't like it as much as how it goes in the game. I kind of want it to be its own thing. And the Mario movie didn't straight adapt anything. It was a very generic story anyways as it was, but it wasn't it's harder, I guess, because there's no really distinct story. And I take it back. They did have a wedding between Bowser and Peach, which is what Mario Odyssey was about.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's aspects, and I think it'll be similar. Like, you're
Mhm.
gonna see him pulling a sword out of something. You're gonna see,
Yeah.
like those little beats. Like, oh, that's in the game, because I need to have that
Mhm.
moment. You know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Then I'll pick one. I won't say the cop out of none of them. I want to see probably something from Wind Waker. Show Tingle in the jail in Wind Waker. Show Link busting Tingle out of jail. That would be good. Oh, when they fire Link out of the cannon into the Forsaken Fortress.
That would be
That's
pretty
pretty
funny.
fun.
Yeah.
Um,
The
I
fight
don't
with
know. It's hard because then
the
I think of
tail
that
and
being a
on
real
Dragon Roast
person. I'm
Island.
like, oh yeah, oh that's cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I guess I trend maybe actually towards some of the darker things. Like I'm thinking about Twilight Princess. I think that yeah, the Elden Bridge fight is an awesome pick. That's what Oscar said. That'd be really really cool.
That and the Dark Link battle in Ocarina of Time, or any of the
Ooh,
sections
in the
with
water
the
temple.
soldier
Mhm.
in Twilight Princess would be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be really really good. I want to see if Ganondorf is the villain, it could be Ganon, it could be a big CGI pig, or it could be a man, we don't know. But if it's Ganondorf, or it could be both, I think the coolest, most cinematic ending is Twilight Princess, where it's just a one-on-one sword duel with everybody else watching. I think that would play out really well in a movie setting. I
Yeah.
think that would really, really work. Um, yeah, I think that'd be cool because you see all the other because characters are going to be more important in this movie, presumably, than they are really in the game. So I picked something like Twilight Princess, which I think has the strongest characters, and having all of them be onlookers to Link's final duel with Ganondorf in the middle of Hyrule Field. That'd be cool.
I wonder.
Just adapt
It,
Twilight Princess, I guess is what I'm saying.
well, no, yeah,
You're
I
gonna
like,
pick one.
but even him doing Planet of the Apes, I wonder if that like is him quasi being like, I want to do Twilight Princess because like you have all the Wolf Link stuff. Like, how do you make that
Yeah.
convincing? Where your main character is a wolf. And it's like, well, we did it with a movie with a bunch of monkeys, so here you go.
Yeah. That'd be so crazy because then you'd have all these people who just think Link turns into a wolf. That'd be
Wait,
so weird.
wait, hear me out.
Yeah.
This is why Twilight Princess HD isn't out yet. They're waiting
Because
until
of
they're
the
further
movie?
along of development with the movie. They're gonna drop that and be like, all right, here you go, guys. It's on Switch and Switch 2. And then a year and a half
Mhm.
later, 2 years later, they're gonna be like, okay, here's the movie based on that. Have fun.
I would love that. I would love that, and the only hole I'd poke in it is that they had many, many, many years before they probably even knew they were doing a Zelda movie that they could have put Twilight Princess out on Switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We know he's a Zelda fan. I don't know if you saw that clip that was floating around of West Ball on the red carpet of apes being asked, and he wouldn't say his favorite, and then a bunch of people accused him. Oh, that means you're not a real fan. You actually couldn't think of one. No, this guy's a fan. This guy is a Zelda fan.
Yeah.
I think 100%. And there's that tweet he tweeted 15 years ago about how the next big CGI movie should be The Legend of Zelda, and yeah, no, I believe that he's a fan. I don't think that
Yeah.
he would lie about that. Yeah. And I think he'll do it justice because I think that people who work on Nintendo stuff really care. The West Ball, if he's truly a lifelong Zelda fan, which I believe he is, he's not gonna half-ass this. He's gonna try and make this the best thing he's ever done. So yeah. I
All right,
have
you
more
heard
hope
it.
now than I did.
You heard it, folks. Timestamp this moment, and then we'll bring it out of the time capsule. 4 years from
Mhm.
now when this movie finally comes out, and we'll see if
Yeah.
Logan was right.
Well, now you have two takes of me. You have when it was announced when I was super down on it, and
That's
now
true.
where I'm still hesitant about it. I'm still wish it was animated. I'm not. I don't really take back anything I said, but I think we were a little hard on the director at the time because at the time all he really had to his name was the Maze Runner movies.
Yeah.
But now he has this, which is really good, and it shows he's getting better over time and being given bigger, better projects. And yeah, it could be good. Yeah. Okay. Last question comes from Buck, who says, after watching Sakurai's video on game organization, it made me wonder, what physical games do you think you will regret not buying for Switch in 10 years? I currently own no physical games for the Switch, and I know I will probably regret not picking up at least a few carts while it was easy to do so. Chris, you're in the
Bayonetta
middle of a video game purge. Do you have any choices?
Bayonetta Origins. That is definitely one. Um, we were talking about it. I can't remember if it was on the show or privately. Tropical Freeze. I own that game on Wii U physically.
Hmm.
And I bought it digitally on Switch. And I like every time I turn on my Switch and I see it, that I can just boot it up. While I'm excited, I can play Tropical Freeze whenever I want. I am so mad at myself for not getting a cartridge of that game because I absolutely adore it. Um, Other than that, like maybe some indie titles that I don't already own,
Hmm.
like physically. Anything that was on like a limited run, maybe that looking back, I'd be like, wow, I wish I owned that. But like, I got a lot of the first party stuff this time around. Even stuff that like even the Fire Emblem games that um I typically don't play, and I try them and I usually don't like them.
Yeah.
But I bought a lot of games that I don't like this generation.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But no, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll have to look at limited run, but I can't think of any
Mhm.
off the top of my head.
Yeah, for me, it was this generation in the last 2 years, really since we started this show, that I started to think the only games I need to buy physically are first party games, and I have pretty much all of them. So I'm good. I don't think I'm gonna have any regrets. Though Tropical Freeze, I did this. We are in the exact same situation.
Yeah.
Physical Wii U, digital Switch. Why did I do that? So that is one I could see myself picking up eventually. And I actually did the same with 3D World. The exact same thing.
Oh,
Physical on Wii
really?
U, digital on Switch. Why did I do that? Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
funny. I almost did that, and then I had that conversation in my head of like, no, you did this in Donkey Kong. You're not making the same mistake again,
Yeah.
and I didn't, and I'm very happy that I didn't.
I was so that was a point where I that was when I lived in Montana at the time for a few months, and it was like the pandemic when that game dropped, and I was like, I don't want to drive all the way to the store tomorrow morning to pick this game up when I could just play Bowser's Fury right now when the game dropped at 10 o'clock. So I just did that instead. And then I shouldn't have done that. Other than that, Sonic Mania Plus is one that I wish I had bought when it was more available, and now it's a little bit harder to find. But
Yeah.
besides that, no, I don't really think there's any. But yeah, Switch games are fun. I like the physical editions of those. I think the cartridges are cool, and I like the box size. They're nice.
I appreciate that they don't take up too much
Yeah.
space. Yeah.
Hmm. And then one that I'm in a weird spot for, and this is stupid, is Tears of the Kingdom. I bought in Japan, and I think to myself, do I want a North American copy of that to go with the rest of my North American Zelda collection? That's pretty complete. Yeah.
I feel like if it were me, I would. Like I would, and this is me justifying it in my own head. Like I feel like I would look at that as this is a thing that I bought for myself as a like memento of my trip to Japan. That was amazing.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, like I have all these other ones from my entire lifetime in North
Yeah.
American. Like I have to get that one.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
Funny
just tough
enough,
because that one's 70 and does not go on sale often.
I know.
So, yeah, I'll have to grab that one at some point.
Yeah. Oh, Celeste, I would like to have physically, and Celeste and
Mhm.
Hollow Knight actually are two big
Nice.
ones that like I've gone on Fangamer multiple times and I'm like, am I gonna buy this right now? Even though I'm like not gonna play it. Um,
Mhm.
the what was the other thing I was gonna say? Funny enough, Mario vs. Rabbids. I have that
Oh,
digitally,
mhm,
the first one,
mm,
and I wish I had it physically. And that game goes on sale a lot, and
mhm.
I've always just been like, I'm not gonna play it, so why am I doing it?
Yeah. Exactly. That's always the question.
Yeah.
I have one thing to circle back on that I had an epiphany over the weekend and wanted to say it on the show. So last week we talked a ton about Nintendo merchandise, and we've had the question on the show before of if you could add one thing to Nintendo's lineup of merchandise, what would it be?
Mm.
And I thought of an answer that is so clearly my answer, and I don't know if I've ever said it on the show. And it's Arcade One Up. It's partner with Arcade One Up and make a Donkey Kong arcade cabinet, please. And that is so easily my answer to this question.
I'm laughing because that's exactly what I said when you and I talked about it.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
I thought it sounded familiar when I thought about it over the weekend, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, so I wanted to bring it up.
And Donkey Kong is the one that, like, the one cabinet that, like, I would
so,
kill
okay.
for.
Yeah.
That's why I'm laughing. No, I mean, I completely agree with you. It's great.
Apparently
I
we've
can't
had
tell
this
you.
conversation before.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've gone online and looked up the cost of a skin for my cabinet and been like, am I gonna spend $150 on a sticker to slap on a cabinet so it looks like Donkey Kong? Yeah, I want it so bad. I really do.
They could totally do that. They have several arcade. They have Mario Brothers. There's a Punch Out arcade. There's a few out there they've had in the past, but yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, I thought that might have come up on the show before.
It's so funny
I
that
wanted
you
to
said
say
that.
it just in case it hadn't. Yeah, okay, that is another episode of the Toadstool Boardroom in the Books, for a weekly Nintendo show here on Thursdays. Maybe that's why Nintendo switched, actually. It's because of us. They said,
Oh, it's gotta be
Toadstool's
it.
on Thursdays.
They're like, oh,
Yeah,
Logan's
we'll put stuff on.
post when? Got it. When? Wait,
Yeah.
Chris remembers to post when?
Yeah, Thursdays, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, on video version on YouTube, audio on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen to your shows. Send us an email, toadstoolboardroom@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter @toadstoolbr. Chris, where can people find you?
You can find me at Shrives93. Send me all your love about Thousand Year Door. Send at ToadstoolBR all your love about Thousand Year Door, or join our Discord. There's a link on our Twitter
tweet
for that as well. It's the pinned tweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we were joking around earlier because they added, this is Nintendo, but they added a zombies mode to Halo Infinite. And I forgot that Logan plays. I tweeted at Justin thinking like, oh, we should play, because he and I played Halo before, and I've never played with Logan. I forgot he played. But I was like, do we have a Toadstool Boardroom Halo night? Just because we like the game. So if you would do that, just like drop a message in the Discord, and then we'll try to figure something out. Because I
get
love
it.
Halo.
No one wants to eat lunch with the boss. I understand.
Otherwise, we can't talk about you if you're there.
I know. Yeah. Can't talk about how I forgot that you wanted an arcade one up for Donkey Kong.
You believe that guy?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I can't believe him. Yeah. You can find me online at Logan J Plant. I'll plug my Paper Mario review again over on IGN. I loved it so much. Go check it out. Enjoy your Paper Mario weekend if you're picking the game up. Hopefully everything's okay with your physical copies if you're getting it physically. And you can find Justin online at KOREIS. He will be back, I think, in 2 weeks. I think he's out next week also.
I believe so.
It'll be us holding down the fort again, but Justin will be back soon.
Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, $20 right now at Best Buy.
Okay. I think you got me. Is it the Cosmic Edition or whatever that I've clicked on 100 times?
No, it actually says Standard Edition, which is funny.
Okay, nice. I actually would prefer that. I don't like it when things say something on the box that.
But they're worth
more.
more.
Are different. Okay. But I'm never gonna sell them.
I know you're not. I'm not either.
So
it's like the Kmart Mario Party 4 that sells for like $150. Like, why?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's weird.
Also, this show just can't end. We just got a piece of late breaking news. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door icons available now on Switch Online. Yeah. Chris just got so hyped. Yeah, so go grab those. I'm going to get, Lord Crump. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's it. That's the end. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great week. Enjoy Paper Mario. We'll see you next time right here in the Toadstool Boardroom.